Communications program. Please note, all participants will remain muted for the duration of the session. If you experience any connectivity issues while logged in, we suggest disconnecting and logging in again. If that does not resolve your issue, please use the WebEx dial-in and access code to rejoin the session. This session will be recorded, and a copy of the recording will be made available to you within 48 hours. Please take a moment to locate the Q&A panel and chat window on the lower right side of your screen. Only use the Q&A panel to type in your questions for the panelists, and only use the chat feature for brief networking, introduction, and kudos. At the conclusion of today's event, you will be prompted to complete a brief survey. We greatly appreciate your feedback. Before we begin, I would like to welcome Mr. Curtis Brandon with Strategic Outreach and Communications to give opening remarks on behalf of VA OSDBU. Mr. Brandon, welcome.
Thank you, Jessica. Greetings and good afternoon from the Department of Veteran Affairs, Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. On behalf of our leadership, we thank you for your participation in today's virtual training webinar. VA OSDBU remains committed to employing innovative methods to promptly inform you about relative procurement opportunities, training, and information. Virtual events we conduct would not be possible without the support of industry partners and programs like the Virginia Apex Accelerators. We are grateful that Mrs. Lisa Woods, statewide director, made time in her busy schedule to host today's event. Strategic Outreach and Communications is dedicated to small business procurement readiness through various programs, outreach events, and education and training. We routinely conduct a variety of engaging online events designed to facilitate meaningful interactions and foster relationships. We encourage all to continue to visit our website to stay updated on upcoming events and valuable opportunities to connect and collaborate. We also extend our thanks to everyone who supports the department in its mission to serve our nation's veterans. Thank you. Back to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon, for the opening remarks. Before we begin, I would like to welcome our panelist from Virginia Apex Accelerator, Ms. Lisa Wood, statewide director of Virginia Apex Accelerator. Thank you for being here, Ms. Wood. You may begin.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. So once again, I'm Lisa Wood. I'm the statewide director of the Virginia Apex Accelerator. I've been doing this work for 15 years, and prior to that, I was a contracting specialist for Bechtel. So I was that person on the other side of the fence, looking at small businesses and determining who was worthy and who was not worthy to win contract awards. So that being said, I love capability statements. I love teaching this class. I love looking at people's capability statements and helping them craft a proper one. And I have seen all manner of bad things in capability statements. So I want to save you from yourself. I want you to create a great capability statement and move forward with it and market yourself effectively to the government. So today, next slide, please. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about the types of capability statements that there are, because there isn't just one. How to build an effective capability statement, and we're going to touch on capability briefs because some people get them mixed up. They're not the same thing. So at the end, we're going to talk about what a capability brief is. Next slide. So here are some uses for a capability statement. Your capability statement should be fluid and easily edited to adapt to the situation in which you're going to present it. Some capability statements are more general and others more in-depth, depending on the situation. A general capability statement documents what you do and designed for a general audience. A custom capability statement is used to engage with a specific entity and will be designed with your capabilities relevant to their specific needs. So two different kinds, general and custom. So you're going to learn the difference between those two. So to use as a marketing tool, at an event that you would go to, such as industry days or a matchmaker, You'll bring your general capability statement to hand out during networking when you're meeting people for the first time. You'll also have a custom capability statement designed for the stakeholders that you're going to be meeting with for the one-on-one discussions. Never hand out a general capability statement to someone in a matchmaking session, such as the VA you're meeting with. You're not going to hand them a general capability statement. You're going to give them a capability statement designed for them specifically. They can tell if you did your homework. They'll be very impressed that you understand their needs and know how to do business with them. Because a contracting officer or small business liaison officer, they like to see a capability statement that is designed specifically for them, because a general one just shows you're handing them a general synopsis of what you do. But a custom one shows you did a deep dive and you know exactly what their needs are and how to do business with them. Next slide, please. So the custom statements really get attention. They respect firms that demonstrate that they did their due diligence. They're more likely to say yes to a meeting if they have demonstrated that you understand their mission and can help them solve their problem. So just make sure if you're sending your capability statement out to someone through email, you are designing one specifically for them. So a lot of people, when they get a capability statement and they're happy with it, they think they can just go and send it to every email address they can find for a small business office. And that's not the way to do things. So these contracting specialists, they get hundreds of capability statements a week. And if it's a general statement that really isn't designed specifically for their agency or their entity, it's probably going to get deleted. So you really want to make sure when you are going after a decision maker meeting, you're sending them one that is designed specifically for them. And remember, there's a difference. Next slide, please. So as a response to a sources sought or a request for information notice, these are often disregarded contracting activities. So please respond to as many of these that you're qualified for. It's a great way to have a handshake with the government. They may ask for your capability statement or have you give specific information that is pertinent to their needs that's already on your capability statement. You just copy and paste. This is how set-asides are created. So make sure you're participating in this exercise as much as you can, because you don't want to lose out on an opportunity because you didn't respond. Next slide, please. So I pulled this directly from SAM. This is from a sources sought. Please note the areas that I've highlighted in a different color print. In a sources sought, give them exactly what they're looking for, no more, no less. This is a good example of what a contracting professional is looking for in a capability statement. So you see, capability statement that succinctly addresses the following items to demonstrate the contractor's ability to perform the requirements of the draft scope of work. Ability to manage as a prime contractor, technical ability, contractor's capacity, amount of equipment or facility size of staff, demonstrated ability to manage, technical ability and capacity. This may include citing similar times that you've done work of this scope in the past. So this is just a great representation of what they're looking for in a capability statement. So not just from this sources sought or any sources sought, but what they may be looking for in a capability statement that you're going to send to them in an attempt to meet with them. Next slide, please. So in a request for proposal, I pulled this one directly from SAM. Please note the capabilities and experience has been given a value of 40 points, and that is 40 out of 100. That's how you're scored. So they clearly state offers should demonstrate that their organization has the experience and capabilities to meet the requirements laid out in the statement of work. So critical that you really have a handle of what they are looking for. And your capability statement is going to be able to demonstrate that. So how do you build this effective capability statement? This is the template I've used for 15 years. It is pretty much the industry standard. It was developed by Gloria Larkin of Target Gov, and she actually polled contracting officers and procurement professionals as to what they want to see in a capability statement. What information do you want to see here? And she designed this around that. I am happy to send this template out to the VA. So if you would like to use this editable template, it will be available to you. You can also get it off of my website, and your local APEX should have this as well. But you see, it's very simple. It's easy to read. Everything's there. They know where to look for information, and it's easily scannable. Next slide, please. So it's important to keep it simple. These are the general guidelines for a capability statement. The key is to keep it simple. The people reading the capability statement have the need for high value content. They will be visually scanning the document to look for keywords. Do not use trade jargon. The buyer may not understand your trade language, so you need to write the capability statement as if the person knows nothing about your industry, and maybe they don't. Please title it as a capability statement. And believe me, I've seen all manner of titles. Keep it simple, capability statement only. And make sure you include your branding and logo elements, because capability statements are kept and branding and logo elements are remembered by buyers. Please give 2 points of contact. I recently heard an SBLO, Small Business Liaison Officer, from a major prime speak at an event, and she said, if the contact person on the capability statement does not respond to their efforts to contact them, they'll move on to the next statement. She said, if there are 2 contacts, then they'll try to reach the second one before moving on. So make sure someone is always available to take an email or a call. Next slide, please. Contracting officers have a high regard for businesses who do their homework, and they actually take the time to research the agency in which they're marketing themselves to. It shows you have an interest in their needs and solutions to their problems. This is a way to customize. Now is the time to impress them with your knowledge of their organization. And I brought it up in previous slides, but I really want to emphasize this because this might be the difference between you and somebody else. You've demonstrated that you really get them. You know their mission and their vision. You have the tools to help them solve their problems. You are the best candidate. So just remember that when you're creating that capability statement. Next slide, please. Keep your capability statement to 1 page only. It's okay to do the back side if you have extra information that doesn't fall under the initial headings that I showed you in the template. I found that it's really easy to contain everything to the front. But if you have photos or maybe extra past performance, you can send it on the back. But it's hard to send and store as 2 pages, and that's what happens. They have to print out 2 pages. So make an effort to try to keep it to the front page and use every bit of the front page space for your statement. Graphics take up valuable real estate on your capability statement, so use them sparingly. Don't go out to Google Images and get a bunch of cool stuff to put in your capability statement because they really don't care about that. The person reading the statement is more interested in what you can do, not how fancy your capability statement is. So make sure it can be easily sent and not too big and get caught up in a spam filter. Make sure you use your branding and logo elements once again. Next slide, please. These are the expected content labels. Please do not deviate from these because that is what the reader is looking for. That this is what they expect to see. You do not want them searching for information that they're seeking. Make it easy for them to find what they need. If it's too busy, if it's too hard to read, it will be discarded. No long narratives. Remember, keep it simple. They appreciate simplicity and high value content. Next slide, please. So core competencies. This is an area you can really customize for the reader. Make sure the information is relevant to what they're seeking. A general statement will say all that you do. A custom statement will only give what is relevant to the end user. Next slide. Please note the absence of any marketing language. This is an example from a capability statement from one of my clients. Also note the bullets are not defined, only stated as a core competency. Defining the competency eats up too much space. So a lot of times I have people fill in more. They say management consulting, but underneath they put a lot of words. That it's not necessary. Give them the highlights. That's what they're looking for. Remember, they're scanning this document. Next slide. Past performance. This is the gold standard in contracting, as you all know. Make sure it's detailed and relevant. This is similar to giving a reference on a resume. The more detailed information you provide, the better it looks. Make sure you give the name of the person you dealt with, their contact information, a brief scope of work, and the dollar value of the award. If you're working on a blanket purchase agreement or have an open purchase order, say that and include the annual invoice amount. Make sure the past performance is relevant to what the buyer is seeking if it's a custom statement. In a general statement, give a diverse sampling of what you're capable of and what you've done in the past. Next slide, please. If you do not have direct government contract experience, your commercial work will be just as valuable. Subcontracting to a prime is also valuable. Before giving out past performance, always check with the person that you're listing. They may refer you to their small business office lead instead of having you list them. Contracting professionals move around to different areas, so you want to make sure you give the proper contact. Another note, when working for a prime, once your part of the effort is over, ask them for a past performance reference. Primes do not post in CPARs like federal agencies do, but they will give you a written past performance reference if you ask them. Next slide, please. This is an example of past performance if you were the prime. You're saying what you did and the results. It also is saying how much the award was, showing what you're capable of, especially if it's higher dollar, right? So if they're looking for someone who's going to do a $500,000 effort, you want to show you're capable of doing $500,000 work. You may also list the contracting vehicle, P card, GSA schedule, firm fixed price, for example. Then offer your reference name and contact info. Please do not use company logos to show who you have done business with. This is meaningless to a buyer and does not give them the information they need to determine what your capabilities are. It's just a fancy logo and it's illegal. You're not allowed to actually use those. Next slide, please. If you are a subcontractor, you could use the same format. Only mention the prime by name and of course add the contact information. Next slide. This is different. It takes into consideration those people who started their own business after working in an industry for many years. This will help you show your experience if your business is new, but you are a subject matter expert. If you're new, it might be a good idea to include your bio also on the capability statement, showing how you're uniquely qualified to do this work. And I have done this many times with businesses and it works. they want to give you a chance. It might be a small effort, maybe a couple $1,000s, but everyone starts somewhere. But as long as you can demonstrate you are that subject matter expert, they'll give you a break. It's just, they just need to know that you're able to manage the business. That's why they'll start you out small. Next slide, please. This is some sample past performance from an actual capability statement. So you can see where they clearly state they were the prime for the Department of Justice. They give a brief scope of what they did, the time it was awarded, a dollar value, and a contact. Then they show that they were a subcontractor, and Imperium was the person that they subbed to. They were the prime to the Department of Labor, who was the end customer. Once again, a brief scope of work, dollar value, and contact. Then once again, prime with Metropolitan Airport Authority. Don't forget airports, because they are big procurement people. They love small business. So look at your airports as well. Contact number, the brief scope, dollar value, and lead. Next slide, please. So differentiators. Most people have a hard time with this, but it really is key. The buyers may already have many businesses in your area of expertise. So what makes you different? Is it longevity, geographic footprint, delivery, quality certs, staff, state-of-the-art machines, or superior facilities? You know why you're better than your competitor. This is where you're going to document it. If you make a claim, you need to be able to back it up. This must be objective and quantitative, not your personal opinion. Everyone says that they're the best, or state of the art, or strive to leverage their expertise, and so forth. This language is meaningless. Show them why you are so great with facts and statistics. Next slide. So here's some examples of differentiators. We offer both virtual and on-the-ground service anywhere in the continental US. Well, that's a fact that can be proven. We provide on-call 24-hour, 7-day-a-week accessibility. That's a fact. We provide same-day turnaround response time to resolve issues. Fact. Our pricing is 15% lower than industry standards. It's a fact, if they can prove it, and it's quantitative. We receive 95% of business from existing customers annually, repeat business. That, once again, it's quantitative and it's a fact that they can prove. SPAR's self-assessment score of, and whatever their SPAR score is, you can look that up in PIEE, and they're level 1 CMMC compliant. So that is an excellent differentiator, and there are many more areas that you can differentiate. This just gives you an example. Next slide, please. Other key assets you might want to consider. Are you close to a place of performance? Does your team have special training such as Lean or Six Sigma? Do you have patent or exclusive rights? How about relationships with partners to allow for more complex, large procurements? Your years of experience, please not combined. Please do not use over 100 years of combined experience, because that doesn't tell me anything. You could have somebody with 1 year and somebody with 30 and someone with 30. You get what I'm saying. 100 years of combined experience it just doesn't do anything for the buyer. It's meaningless to them. However, you may say the majority of the staff has been with your company for over 10 years. That's strong, and that can be proven. Do you have ISO 9000, ITAR? Do you have a written quality assurance plan? And very important, what is your plan if your place of work would be destroyed in a disaster? And this day and age of wind and tornadoes, hurricanes, flooding, landslides, fire, businesses are getting burned out all the time, and some of those businesses are working on government contracts. So that contracting officer is going to feel pretty warm and fuzzy about you if you have a written disaster recovery plan. This is how I plan to back everything up. So in case something catastrophic happens, I can continue with the contract. Next slide, please. Your company data. So some areas to consider is the size of your workforce. How many shifts that you operate or capable of operating, your accounting practices, like are you DCAA compliant? Fiscal health, do you have a letter of credit from your bank? Any awards you may have won in your area of expertise. You just never know what the buyer may find important, so leave no stone unturned. Next slide. More company data. You will also note if you accept credit cards. This is huge because that's how they get to know new businesses. They start them out with simple, small credit card purchases, or what they call as a P card. Don't go into your bank and say, I want a P card. They won't know what you're talking about. It's just your ability to accept credit cards. So you want to say that on your capability statement. Information on the skill, knowledge, and education of the owner is also important because you're the commodity. You're selling yourself as well. Also, key employee skills and education, if applicable. Do you only work in your state, or can you perform anywhere in the world? That's the geographical area served. These are all key things that you're going to want to know. Next slide, please. List all your government codes and certifications. Please keep the state and federal certifications separate. This will help them find what is applicable to their needs. Also, state your socioeconomic status, if any, but don't go getting crazy over it. They don't award based on socioeconomic status alone. You still must show that you're capable of doing the work successfully. Show your SAM active, because sometimes that's a big issue. And I get calls all the time. Lisa, they want to award to me, but my SAM went inactive. So just stay on that. You don't want to ever go inactive in SAM because sometimes it's a process to get active again. You also want to give your GSA or your best in class schedule number if you have one. All this shows you know how to speak the language of government and are savvy to their methods and procedures. You do not need to define NAICS codes. They know what they're looking for. Next slide, please. So here's an example from a capability statement. Please note that the federal certs are listed separate from state. Every state has its own procurement methods and certifications. So judge if the reader needs to know your state certs. Fed does not speak state and state does not speak federal. They only care about what is relevant to them. I've seen capability statements with dozens of certifications that I have no idea what they are. Just put in the ones that are relevant to the person that you are giving that capability statement to. Next slide, please. Here is more examples. This particular business operates a Navy IDIQ, multiple award contract. They also are on Army recruiting, management, and administrative support services. They have a seaport. Their NAICS are listed, but you see they're not defined because you don't need to define them. And they list their PSC codes. Please don't forget those. They've even bolded the ones that are most relevant to them. So please don't ever disregard a PSC code. It is more focused than the NAICS. The NAICS only identifies an industry. The PSC code actually identifies a buy. So don't forget about those PSC codes. Next slide, please. Some more relevant information would be any unique processes or products that you may have. Size of warehouses, if that's relevant, and if you have multiple locations. Do you have any unique equipment or software? Do you have access to skilled labor to increase capacity if needed? Or the ability to add extra shifts for increased production in manufacturing? Remember, you're demonstrating capacity as well as capability. You do not want to lose someone's interest because they think you cannot expand into large, more complex work. So you want to demonstrate that, hey, I may be a one-man shop, but I have access to skilled labor, ready, willing, and able to participate with me on a larger scope work. Next slide, please. So a capability statement is not a PowerPoint presentation. A lot of people make that mistake. I do a general call for capability statements, and 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to send me a PowerPoint presentation. Please do not do that. Save that for capability brief. It's not more than 2 sides of 1 page, not a JPEG or a TIFF file. Not larger than 1 megabyte, please. It's not going anywhere via email if it's too big. It's never a substitute for personal contact as well. You still need to shake hands, exchange business cards, and meet with people in person. It's not your resume, and it is not a capability brief. Next slide. So some other no-nos. You will lose credibility. I know I'm harping on this a lot. If you include federal or prime logos on your capability statement, use that space for something that will build your value, such as your bio or more past performance. Have someone else read your capability statement to determine if it's easily understood. There's no need to include your photo. They don't care how good looking you are, only that you can do the work. Always lead with your value, not your socioeconomic certification. You have to prove you are capable of doing the work on time, within spec and budget. Certs are the icing after you bake the cake. Next slide, please. So a capability brief. It's basically a blown up version of your capability statement. You get to go in and present and demonstrate your value. It's usually done on site, takes 30 minutes to up to 2 hours. It may include small business liaison officers, project managers, procurement heads, engineers, other stakeholders. You will present a PowerPoint. You can use charts, graphs, and other visuals and include handouts. Please be specific to their needs and show you can solve their problems. Make it relevant to what they're looking for, and do not bring food or any kind of tchotchkes to a capability briefing. They are not permitted to accept them. So don't waste your time and money on those things. What they want to know is who you are and what you're about. Next slide. So in summary, I know this was a lot of information. Always lead with your value. You don't want to lead with their socioeconomic certification. Show that you've done your market research and understand their mission, vision, and pain points. Show that you are both responsible and responsive. And those are 2 very important words in procurement. When you get the time, go out and Google responsible and responsive bidding in government contracting. You won't believe the articles that pop up. That's how a contracting officer determines who they are going to award to. There's overwhelming evidence that the person who submitted the proposal is both responsible and responsive. So you want to demonstrate that and prove it in your capability statement. You want them to start to feel warm and fuzzy about you. Always have multiple versions of your capability statement on hand. Don't call me in the 11th hour and say, I need to send a capability statement at 1 o'clock and it's only 11. That's not going to work. These take time. Sometimes I go back and forth with people 3 or 4 times before we get a working copy of a good general capability statement. And then when they're refining one for custom, we really get into the weeds and put together one that is relevant to what that agency or prime is looking for. And once again, market your statement to target agencies and organizations who have a demonstrated need for your goods or service. Don't waste your valuable time and research sources marketing to people who are never going to buy from you. Rule of thumb is pick 3 to 5 and a mix of agencies and primes or or both, or one. Just make sure you keep it small because this is a lot of work doing the research. You really need to become a subject matter expert on the people that you are marketing to, because if you can speak their language, you are going to get their attention. It's a wow moment from them because they see a lot of garbage. And when something comes across their desk that's really good, they're going to pay attention. So I know it's a lot of information to give you in one session. And this is why we're here to assist you. Know who your resource partners are and use them. Apex accelerators are free and ready to help you work through these processes and get prepared for government work. We partner with the SBA, SCORE, Women's Entrepreneurial Centers, SBDCs, and others to bring you all the tools you need to succeed. We will send a capability statement editable template to anyone that needs one. You can find it on my website, and other Apex accelerators have it as well. So we will also send an example to use as a go-by, because some people need that extra little bit of help to see how somebody else actually put theirs together. We're also available to meet with you for a one-on-one session to go over your capability statement and critique it. And that's easily done by email. I always have people sending me capability statements. I go through them and tell them what they did right and tell them what they did wrong. And I try to be gentle and measured, but sometimes it's painful to hear the criticism, but don't take it personally. We're just helping you be the best that you can be. So this is me. I included our national organization, the www.napex.us is our national organization that you can find your own Apex accelerator. So if you're not in Virginia, and a lot of you aren't, there should be an Apex near you. So please go to our national site and find the closest office. And thank you very much for your time today. This is an important step to being successful in government contracting.
Thank you, Ms. Wood, for your presentation on how to build and use capability statements. We will now move into the question and answer portion of the presentation. Reminder to only use the Q&A panel to type in your questions. When 2 minutes, yeah. Ms. Wood, our first question is from Natalie. Natalie says, my Apex Accelerator mentor suggested I add images to my capability statement. Is this a good suggestion?
You can add some images depending on how relevant they are. Like I said, don't go out to Google Images and just pick some things that are relevant to your industry. It's okay to jazz it up a little bit, but remember, every image you put in there takes up valuable real estate. So be mindful of that. Now, if you have a state-of-the-art CNC machine that you use in your tool and die, you want to make sure that you have a picture of that. If you have a 100,000 square foot climate controlled warehouse, you would want to have an image of that. Maybe you're in construction and you have some great equipment like a backhoe or a 5-ton dump. So things that are relevant to your area, just once again, be mindful of how that image is going to help you stand out from your competitor. Is it going to be important for the person reviewing your statement to see that and have you stand out? So you just have to ask yourself that question. Sometimes images are good, and upping your branding and logo elements, you can, in that header top of the capability statement, yeah, you can put graphics up there, but just really be careful with it in your body, because once again, you're taking up valuable real estate that can be used for your value proposition.
Thank
So you can read the next question.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Our next question is from Patricia. Patricia asks, how do you find the keywords specific to the industry?
How to find keywords specific to your industry? Well, it should be easy for you. You know what your industry is. And we'll take, for example, construction. So keywords would be residential contracting, residential remodeling, commercial remodeling. So keywords are always relevant to what you do, but they need to be very specific. So I've seen keywords used such as management. That's a very bad keyword because what are you managing? You could be managing any number of things. You could be managing children. You could be managing data centers. So you want to make sure when you use a keyword, it's very specific and very easy to follow and think like a buyer. If a buyer is looking for somebody in a specific field, what word would they use to find those businesses? So it's easy to do it when you think of it that way. Also, go into some solicitations and see what keywords they're using in there. That's a great way to find some good keywords. But keywords we use a lot, especially when we're creating bid matches, and keywords are very important in your dynamic small business search. Also, you can upload your dynamic small business search in your capability statement in the dynamic small business search now. You can put a link to it there. And your capability statement should also be on your website. So it's easily printed out so they could take it to stakeholders and department heads for consideration. So keywords, very critical to determine what keywords are best for your particular situation.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from Deb. Deb asks, past performance citations pre-2025, EO dash, what happens when the office/reference goes away?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So everyone who had past performance from USAID, that's tricky. That is such a good question. I'd still put it in there. You could probably follow up to see where that person went, but you would need to address that. So if that person or if that agency or prime is no longer there, just put that in the past performance. They can't be contacted, but at least you have it there and it can be proven that you did the work. So you're just going to have to do a workaround on that. That's something really I'd never even thought of. Thank you for bringing that up because it's going to happen more and more now with some agencies closing and people being furloughed or let go altogether. You might, if the agency or prime is still there, call their small business office and say, who may I use as past performance? But once again, if the agency or prime is gone and there's no way to find those people, then just refer to that in the past performance or don't use that past performance. But if you have to, then you're just going to have to address that issue.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from Natalie. Could college education, quote, master's, doctoral levels, qualify as differentiators if you are new in GovCon and don't have any other past performance?
It could if it's relevant to the business. So let's say you do historic research and you could list that you have a PhD in history. That could be a differentiator, but it could also go into your bio. So normally when someone has limited past performance, I go through the normal things in the differentiators, but I have them put their bio in. a little bit about you, your background, your education, and how it's relevant to what you're doing now with the business. So once again, let's use the art history example. You say, you have worked in researching art history for the past 20 years. You worked for the Smithsonian. You worked for private industry, and you can list that. You wrote some papers. So you really need to just dig into you. You have to sell yourself because your business is new. There's really nothing there to sell the business yet. You're selling yourself. You're selling how you are uniquely qualified to be this business owner and do the work that they're looking to have done. So I've seen bios work very successfully in that way.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from Cyril. Question: where can we access the template Lisa spoke of?
So I will send the template out to my friends at the VA. You can also go to my website, which I have listed here, or my email. You can email me. I'd be happy to send you the template, lwood22@gmu.edu. And I usually send the black one out. You can change it to any color you want to match your branding and logo elements. It's available in your local Apex. If you're working with an Apex, they'll have a template as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from Charlotte. Question: do we need to show both WOSB and VOSB, or is there a way to?
Absolutely. If you're a woman-owned business and you're also a veteran, you're going to want to list both of those. And they need to verify that you are certified through the SBA. So if you're WOSB, you'll say WOSB certified SBA and the date. If you're a service disabled veteran, you'll say service disabled veteran certified SBA and the date, because they need to know that, because you have to be certified in order to qualify for a set aside in those socioeconomic categories. And being both is huge. They love that. They want to see that if they're able to check the boxes. Now, primes love it because they're able to select multiple boxes. And it's I'm glad you brought that up, because I just spent the day yesterday going through awards that my clients have won. I have to go into each award and mark it as reportable. And in each award, it states this is a WOSB firm, or this is an service disabled veteran owned firm. It's said right on the award. So they really do pay attention and they make note of that. So yeah, you really need to clarify, because some people say, well, I'm a woman-owned business, but they didn't know they were supposed to certify with the SBA. And then they'll bid on a WOSB set aside and get turned down because the contracting officer cannot find them in the dynamic small business search, because that's what they do to verify that you're actually a WOSB. So you just want to make sure that you are compliant to that. If you qualify for the certification, get it, because it really makes a world of difference when you want to pursue those set asides and you're only bidding against people in your socioeconomic category.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from Vanessa. Question: what is an SPRS self-assessment score, and where do you find your score? Does this score apply if you do business with federal, government, state, or city?
Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up, because we're a division of the Department of Defense. We are their program. They're our handler, and they have what's called CMMC, that's Cyber Maturity Model Certification. And there's 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. And that's another class altogether. But I really want you all to look this up, because if you are downstream from a DoD contract of origin, you have to be compliant to CMMC. And how do they know you're compliant? You have a SPARS score. So it's only relevant to anyone working downstream on a DoD origin contract. It doesn't matter what your tier is. You could be way down there, but whoever is above you is going to make sure that you're compliant. So what you do is you have to take a self-assessment. So we'll say level 1, that's the lowest one. You don't have to be certified. There's no certification process, but you're going to self-certify that you're compliant. And there are 110 areas that you have to do your self-assessment on. And those can be found on, everyone get ready, projectspectrum.io. That is a website funded by the Department of Defense, and they are everything CMMC. So this is a pretty big deal right now because they're getting ready to pull the trigger on certifications. So that SPARS score speaks volumes. If you say, I have a SPARS score of 110 and I'm level 1 self-certified, that is really setting you apart. That is a huge differentiator because a lot of the people I meet, I say, hey, how are you doing with your CMMC? And they're saying, what's that? It's like, well, you need to know what that is. So please start doing some research on this because there's a lot of businesses that are going to fall by the wayside because they're not aware this is going on and they're not moving forward and preparing for this. And it's showing up in solicitations and contract clauses. So they may ask the question, what is your SPARS score? And they're going to go and check it. And it's in PIEE. And that's where wide area workflow lives as well. And if all these are new to you, these are terms that you're going to need to learn their meaning. Your Apex can help you with this, and you can also do your own due diligence and research, find out what it means and how it may impact you. So if you're only concerned with doing state or local work, don't worry about it. It's not going to impact you. If you never plan on being downstream on a DoD contract, don't worry about it. But other agencies are probably going to pick up the torch with this as well. So it's good that you could actually move forward and become compliant and have a SPARS score just so you can use it as a differentiator. So that's an excellent question. And these are things that you all need to be very mindful of because it's going to be critical moving forward in government contracting.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from Kevin. Kevin asks, do I need to list all NAICS or is it sufficient to list the 5-digit code indicating we support all of the subcategories?
So NAICS is tricky. Remember, NAICS identifies an industry. So I wouldn't want to see you using the NAICS for engineering and the NAICS for janitorial, because a contracting officer is going to look at that and say, they don't know what they're talking about. You can't be an engineer and do janitorial as well. They like to see apples to apples. So any NAICS code that is relevant to what you do, put it on your capability statement. It just shows what industries you are most capable in. And you know, there's the usual list of NAICS codes for IT, the usual list of NAICS codes for construction, and then the PSC codes further refine that because a lot happens under one NAICS code. That's why we have PSC codes. It helps focus on the areas of that NAICS code that you're actually performing in. So it's an art form to be able to list the proper NAICS codes and PSC codes. If you have 20 or 30 NAICS codes, that's a problem. There's something wrong. You need to take a deeper dive into those NAICS codes and look at them and think, do I really do that? Especially the manufacturing codes. Those are the ones that start with 3.3. So I see a lot of people who they're distributors. They sell items. They sell tractors. but they'll put a tractor manufacturing code in there because it says tractors. So I always tell them, you need to take that out. Are you actually building tractors? No, I'm not. Well, then take that out because you are misrepresenting your capabilities. So just make sure that NAICS code that you use clearly demonstrate the industry that you're working in, and use all the codes that are relevant to you. Let them know what you're capable of doing.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Our next question is from John. John asks, how small of a font would be tolerable? Given
Oh,
we're
that
moving
is an
from
excellent
pages
question.
on one
Do not
page.
go below 12-point font. 10-point font or smaller, anything below that is hard to read. And you don't want them putting your capability statement down because the words look like bugs crawling on the paper because it's so small. A 12-point font is great, and you have to be mindful of what you're putting here. That's why I say don't waste real estate on your capability statement, because you want to have at least a 12-point font so people can scan it and read it more easily. If they have to squint to read it, they won't. And long narratives, they're not going to read that. They want something they can pick it up, scan through, and say, oh, yeah, they have what I'm looking for. I'm going to reach out to them. So, like I said, third-party person to read your capability statement to see how easily it can be read. 12-point font, no smaller.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. We have time for 2 more questions. Our next question is from Jenny. Should we add our EIN and DUNS numbers in the capability statement?
You no longer have to put the DUNS in there because DUNS went away and it was replaced with the UEI. So UEI and CAGE is sufficient. You could put your EIN, but they really want to see your corporate structure. Are you an LLC? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you an S Corp? That's critical. You can put your EIN in, but it's not a deal breaker. Just make sure your CAGE and UEI is there. That's critical.
Thank you. Our next question is from Amy. Amy asks, can you reiterate who would be available to give a critique for our capability statement?
Your Apex Accelerator. So if you don't belong to an Apex Accelerator and it's a free service to you, please go to our national website, find the one closest to you, and reach out to them. Make sure that it's not on your slide. It's www.NAP as in Paul, EX as in X-ray, .us. You'll go there and you can plug in your state and they'll give you a list of all the Apex accelerators that are nearest to you. That's the best way to do it. If you are in a state that does not have an Apex accelerator, like North Carolina, you can reach out to us. We're helping take the overflow of North Carolina, as is South Carolina. They're helping with North Carolina as well. So we're kind of sharing the businesses there because they lost their Apex.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Thanks again to our presenter today, Ms. Lisa Wood, Statewide Director of Virginia Apex Accelerator, for a very informative presentation and discussion. As a reminder, after today's event, we ask that you please complete a brief survey evaluating today's session. We also encourage you to visit the VA OSDBU events page for upcoming programs that may be of interest to you and your network at www.vetbiz.va.gov/events. To everyone who has joined today's session, thank you on behalf of VA OSDBU and Strategic Outreach and Communications Program. This now concludes today's session.